In this session, we are discussing about laws of motion. In fact, these laws were given by Newton. We are discussing this topic for class 9th students. This chapter mainly deals with the relation between force and motion. The relation between force and motion is described by Newton's laws of motion. They enable us to describe the motion of a body when we know the force is acting on it. In reality, what is this concept of force? Force is that external agency which only can change the position of the body. So, in Newton's laws of motion, we are dealing with the concept of force by considering inertia of the body. Inertia of the body. When we take inertia, it is the property by means of which a body can stay either at rest or in the case of uniform motion. That is actually what we call it as inertia. The tendency of a body to maintain its state of rest or of uniform motion in a straight line is called inertia of the body. Tendency of a body to maintain its state of rest. What is the meaning of it? For example, when I consider a block of mass m which is kept on a table, when I just place this one on a table like this, the block remains at rest forever. It will not move by its own. In the sense, the body cannot move out of its own. That tendency of that body which is at rest is called inertia of the body. Similarly, when I consider a ball which of course is kicked in one direction, when there is no external agency in the form of force that is opposing the body goes on moving like this. It cannot stop anywhere. In the sense, the body does not come to rest by itself. This property or this particular tendency, we again call that one as inertia of the body. So, this inertia mainly is the measure of mass of the body. In fact, while discussing about inertia, indirectly we are just considering the mass of the body itself. But when we discuss about inertia, it can be taken of three types. Inertia is mainly taken of three types. What are those three? Let us check the first one, that is inertia of rest of the body. Inertia of rest. What is this inertia of rest? If you consider a book which is kept on a table this way, that book cannot change its placement and come into motion by itself. Means what? If you keep the book today, tomorrow, day after, any other day, after any number of days, you find that book will be there only. It will not move out on itself. Suppose if you want to make this body move, then what you should do? You should apply force on the body. That means force only can change the inertia of the body. That is what we can understand from this example. So this example says a body at rest remains at rest only. It cannot move out on its own. If at all we want to make the body move, then we require to apply some external agency which is called as force. This is the example for inertia of rest. What is the second kind of inertia? The second type of inertia is inertia of motion. What is this inertia of motion? Imagine a body like a ball, which of course I can say that body is now applying some force F. The body is made to move. When the body is moving this way, that body will have linear motion over here. What do you mean by linear motion here? Linear motion means moving along a straight line path. If the body is moving along a straight line path, that inertia what the body has got is now called as inertia of motion. That inertia again is the property of the body or the tendency of the body by means of which it cannot come to rest on its own. Let us take an example. Say a ball is hit by a batsman in cricket. That ball you are finding now is just crossing the boundary mark. When you just observe that the ball is crossing the boundary mark, when the ball is crossing the boundary mark, the body comes to rest after some time. Why the body is coming down to rest? Very simply speaking, you can understand now when the ball is rolling down there. When the ball is rolling down, after traveling some distance, body is coming down to rest. Why is it coming down to rest? You can understand the body is now having few opposing forces acting on it. For example, while rolling down on the ground, there may be a force by name friction. That is one. Second one, air also is going to apply some force what is called as resistance. If you take air resistance is one force, friction is another force, all these forces are making the ball come down to rest. Imagine for a while there is no friction acting on the body. There is no air resistance that is acting on the body. There is no acceleration due to gravity that is acting on the body. That means when no external agency that is acting on the ball, will it come down to rest? No, not at all. The body moves and moves forever. It cannot come down to rest. That property or that tendency of the body, we call that one as inertia of motion in this particular case. And come down to the next concept. The third type of inertia, we call it as inertia of direction. What is this inertia of direction? Imagine we are just going by a bus. Bus is taking a steep right turn. Then the passengers whosoever are sitting inside, they used to fall this way. What were they used to fall like this? You just think it over. As such, their bodies are in motion along with the bus towards right. But all of a sudden, when the bus takes a turn this way, the body of the person sitting inside is still moving along the same original direction. Therefore, the direction is going to be tangential over here. That is the reason why people sitting inside used to fall this way. Similarly, a ball, for example, you have made that one move towards right. After going through some distance, you want to make the ball move towards any other direction, like upward this way. Can it go by itself along this line now? No. What we have to do? We have to change the motion of the body by applying some more force in this direction. Unless we apply force to change the direction of the body, that body cannot change its direction by itself. That is the property of the body, what we call it as inertia of direction as such. So what we can understand from this? A body which is moving in a particular direction cannot change its direction by itself. It requires some other force to make the body change its direction either this way or in any other direction as such. Otherwise, body used to go along the same line as before. There is no chance for the body to take its direction changed. That is what we call it as the third type of inertia, which is to be called as inertia of direction. Just by considering all the types of inertia, observe this point carefully, all the types of inertia, just by considering, Newton has given us 3 laws of motion. Newton's laws of motion are very famous statements. Newton, the father of physics, has given these 3 statements, which we call them as Newton's laws of motion. Just by considering the tendency of the body, which we have discussed as inertia, Newton has predicted 3 statements, which we call them as Newton's laws of motion.